Hey, sports fans, welcome back to another episode of Bucky's Sports Show. I'm Bucky. I'm here this evening with Jay. We're going to talk a little bit of all things baseball here this evening. We actually had a request to discuss Banana Ball for a little bit.
Yeah, and I didn't do my homework, so I'm relying on you.
That's all right. We'll discuss it here.
I have a game recorded, but I forgot to watch it.
So Banana Ball, for those that don't know, is kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters for basketball. And it has just exploded in popularity over the last couple years.
Yeah, I can't go to the game. You can't get tickets.
No, and I've entered into ticket drawings and everything else, and you can't. You just cannot get into a game.
By the time I found out they were in Indianapolis, what was it, last year?
Yeah.
The tickets were gone by the time I even heard about it.
And now they don't even put tickets up to sell for the public. You got to go in through their ticket thing. So it's unbelievably popular, which kudos for them, because I did watch 3 games. I watched a couple last night and one the night before. I was watching last night because MLB had the Braves on Apple TV, and you can't watch them unless you have an Apple TV subscription for $9 or $10 a month. Well, guess what?
For one game a week.
Yeah, and guess what? Braves aren't worth it this year. They're just not worth it this year. So, so I did this so we could satisfy our viewer and talk a little Banana Ball. So let me go through the rules here, because some of these are fascinating. Scoring, each team earns 1 point for winning an inning. So doesn't matter how many runs they score, whoever scores the most runs gets 1 point.
Yeah.
In the final inning, all runs count towards points.
Mm-hmm.
So the game is a 2-hour time limit. So not going to go over 2 hours, with no new innings starting after an hour and 50 minutes. Once an inning starts, it's played to completion. If the game is tied after the time limit, a showdown tiebreaker is used. And this is also used if it's extra innings because it's tied after 9 innings. In the showdown, the batter must score to get a point. A home run in the showdown by either team ends the game. So a player hits a home run, game over. It's an automatic walk-off ender. But in the showdown, it is literally just the pitcher and one other fielder as the batter tries to round the bases to score. Mm-hmm. It is absolutely... It's chaotic to watch, but it's very entertaining. And then some of their other modifications they have from a regular baseball that everyone's used to. No stepping out. If a batter steps out of the batter's box, it's an automatic strike. There's no bunting. Bunting's illegal, and a batter who does it's ejected. Batters can steal first. If the ball gets past the catcher, they can run to first. The ball doesn't have to necessarily get past the catcher. They can leave at any time. This is the one that I really like the most here. No walks. Walks are converted into sprints. The batter attempts to advance as many bases as possible while all fielders, with the exception of the pitcher and catcher, because they've already touched it, must touch the ball before it becomes live. And it's very exciting. The defense just kind of collapses down on second base.
Right, so that's less time between throws.
Yeah,
right,
but when there's runners on, those runners are scoring. Mm-hmm. They have no chance to get the ball to touch every fielder before the runner on first scores. There's no chance. So it's a guaranteed run if they walk a batter with a runner on base. Mm-hmm. It's fantastic. And then if the batter has any sort of speed whatsoever, it's a double at minimum.
Oh yeah,
it is actually fascinating to watch a walk.
Oh, it'd be wild, yeah.
When that happens. If a fan catches a foul ball in the air, batter is out. So they bring the fans into the game and make the fans a part of the game, which I actually love it.
Bartman would probably like that a lot more too.
Yeah. Yeah, he would be a hero today and not someone that is blamed for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah. Those of you out there, raise your hand if you wouldn't have tried to catch that ball too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It wasn't even in play. So
Yeah.
the ball was telling to him.
Talk about a guy getting a bad rap.
Yeah. There's no mound visits. That's catcher, manager, coach, other players. No mound visits. They do dance on the mound.
Might be in trouble, man.
But there's no mound visit, and there's a golden batter rule, so a team can choose any hitter in the lineup to bat at any position during the game.
Now, is that once per game? Is that every inning?
Once a game.
Once a game.
Once a game.
All right.
So it's not used a lot until the very end. But like I said, I watched 3 of these games, and I watched one last year. And the very first batter I saw, the pitcher was pitching to him without a glove. Because that was the gimmick that inning. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is stupid. Someone's going to get killed. You have to have a glove when you're throwing pitches to batters that are 60 feet away from you. Someone's going to get hurt. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of quit watching. Then my niece Ashlyn wanted to talk Banana Ball for a little bit, and I thought, okay, I'll watch a couple more games. Let's see here. I think it was last night's game I watched live, and the outfielders had Easter baskets for their gloves. And the right fielder was able to make the catch in the Easter basket. They have trick plays, and they keep track of trick plays, and I can't figure out what the trick plays do for you. So if you're a Banana Ball fan out there and you understand what the trick plays do, leave a comment. Let me know, because I am so confused as to what the trick play is. Because all it was doing was making me mad. Like, guys are letting runs score because they're trying these trick plays and they're not catching the ball, or they're throwing the ball away and allowing runs to score. And last night the Party Animals lost because of it.
There's 4 teams.
Well, I don't remember if the Party Animals lost last night. Maybe they didn't. Maybe that was the taped game I was watching last night, that the Party Animals lost because of it.
So where are they on? What?
They are on YouTube Live.
Okay, so if you get YouTube, you can watch their games.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and all their games are right there on their YouTube channel, and it really is fascinating. My favorite is probably the guy that bats on stilts.
I've not seen any of them.
That is extremely entertaining. And then he also pitches, so he's pitching on stilts. It really is fascinating to watch. Really, the only difference between this and the Harlem Globetrotters is the Harlem Globetrotters have been playing the Washington Generals for 70 years now, or however long they've been around. There are now 4 teams in this Banana Ball. So people root and have an interest in 4 different teams now. And it's, you go to a Globetrotters game and there might be 5 people there rooting for the Washington Generals. But that is not the case with Banana Ball.
No.
Like, the people love the Party Animals and the Bananas, and I don't know what the other 2 teams' names are off the top of my head right now.
Where are the Savannah Bananas? Where are the Party Animals?
I don't know what the other locations are.
Okay. But they travel the country.
They all travel. So
I
I don't know if the other 3 have like a home field or what they consider a home field or not.
Now I wonder if just 2 of them travel together or 4 of them travel together.
I believe at some point throughout the season and their world tour, as they call it, Savannah will play all three teams, and everyone else will play each other.
Okay.
But obviously, the Bananas are the main attraction,
and
everybody wants to see the Savannah Bananas and the Banana Nanas. And if you haven't seen the Banana Nanas, they're fantastic. That is a group of elderly ladies that they do the dancing. They're like the cheerleaders. So, but they had to figure out a way to work banana in it, so they're the Banana Nanas. So they have a bunch of grandmas out there toe tapping, and it is fascinating. And I don't know who does Banana Ball. Okay, here's the other teams. It's the Savannah Bananas, the Party Animals, the Firefighters, the Visitors, and the Texas Tailgaters.
Okay.
So I was a little off. There's more than 4
teams.
There's 5 teams. So I guess there's 4 other teams other than Savannah.
Okay.
But I don't see on here
how it got started.
Well, who started it?
Yeah. Interesting. I need to watch that. I've got one recorded.
And then starting next year, they're going to have the Banana Ball Championship League. And that will be for people that are older and have retired from the game of baseball that still want to be a part of a baseball league. I was watching a game that took place at Truist Park. Charlie Culverson came out for an at-bat with the Savannah Bananas, and he did not rule out playing in next year's league. So you get guys like that have just kind of retired that still have that itch but don't want to go through the daily grind of it.
Yeah.
So it could be interesting to see where this goes.
Oh yeah.
But I enjoyed watching it. So it was fun. Fun time. If you can get to a game, we'll get to a game. And I gotta know, if anyone out there knows, again, comment please, because I really want to know what the trick plays do for you. Because I couldn't figure, I even Googled it. What do the trick plays do for you? They just tally them, and they just keep track of them. There's nothing in game, so I don't know how that helps you in the long run.
Maybe it's an award at the end of the year.
And it very well could be, but I don't know. So anyone out there, if you know, please let me know. Comment. All right. Let's talk a little MLB now.
Question for you.
Okay.
What happened 75 years ago yesterday?
75 years ago yesterday. Let's see here.
1950. April 18th.
I have no idea.
75 years ago yesterday was Vin Scully's first ever broadcast of a Dodger game. Who scored the very first run that Vin Scully announced as a Dodger announcer?
Again, I have no idea.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson?
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
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 In that case, I think we've already discussed this on the show, but this was the first time in 75 years that Vin Scully or Bob Uecker have not broadcast a baseball game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Went to a wonderful game. A friend of mine doesn't think it was so wonderful, but I went to a wonderful game at Cincinnati the other day. Regardless of which team you were rooting for between Cincinnati and Seattle, it was supremely entertaining ball game.
Mm-hmm.
Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I basically almost gave up hope when Friedel for Cincinnati hit a grand slam, put them up 7-5 going into the ninth, and then Cal Raleigh and Randy Rosarina hit back-to-back solo home runs in the top of the ninth to tie it up, and then eventually Seattle wins it in the 10th by scoring 4 runs, and they win 11-7. But which brought up one of my one of my rants. The obsession, because it made me angry at the time, but the obsession with some of these managers, and you longtime Cardinal fans, I know that Tony La Russa used to drive us nuts with his lefty-righty obsession about what batter, what pitcher to use. But during that Cincinnati-Seattle game, Jorge Polanco was supposed to come to bat late in the game. The man at the time was batting .357. By far, so far, Seattle's best offensive player besides home runs this year. They remove him from the game because he's a left-handed hitter. Cincinnati put a left-handed pitcher in, and they remove him from the game for Mitch Garver, who, at the time he came into the game, was batting .154.
Well, that makes sense.
Now, so what I did was, I looked up Polanco's splits. Now, if Polanco had a terrible average against left-handed batters, then maybe I can understand that. But his lefty-righty split is .333, .376. But yet you're so obsessed with the lefty-righty stuff, you put in a guy batting .154. And I blew my stack. I mean, and my buddy and I started talking. We can't understand some of the things managers do.
So, here's my thing. And I understand that there's guys that they hit lefties better than righties, and some guys hit lefties or righties better than lefties and all that. But if you want to match your lineup to start with, there's a lefty on the mound or whatever. But if you're a Major League Baseball player, and you can't hit a left-handed pitcher, you probably shouldn't be a Major League Baseball player. Like, it's the whole switching makes no sense. And the same thing with the whole pitching matchup. If you're a right-handed pitcher and you can't get out a left-handed batter, what are you doing in the major leagues?
Amen. Yeah.
We've already put in a rule to where pitchers have to pitch to 3 consecutive batters because people like Tony La Russa were going out and going left, right, left, right, left, right, and the games were taking 4 hours.
Yeah.
So we had to put that rule in.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I sat there watching a St. Louis ball game, late in the ball game, and he's pulling that stuff.
Yeah.
Different pitcher for every batter, and you're sitting there thinking, what if this goes extra innings? You got nobody left, which happened a lot. Now, I know his overall record is one of the best in baseball. Right. But that doesn't mean I understand his thinking on everything.
Yeah. I just at some point you got to trust who you've got, and
but especially in a situation like that, though, you go from 357 to 154, over 200 points batting average difference.
Yeah,
that's nuts.
That's.
And then he pulled another stunt.
That's almost like Brian Snitker hitting a 174 hitter as his leadoff guy, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, in the 8th inning, he ran him out of an inning because he tried a double steal with nobody out. So I just, some of the things that happen in baseball, they don't understand it. I studied a lot of old-time baseball, and it's so different today. Yeah. But which brings me up to the other subject. It's amazing how many people out there, I mean, besides your really diehard baseball fans, and John Montgomery, our good friend, as much as he follows baseball, he hardly knew anything about this player. The best kept secret in Major League Baseball, Cal Raleigh of the Mariners. I mean, people aren't aware of this guy.
I had no idea who he was.
He wins a Platinum Glove last year, and I'm not an agent for Cal Raleigh, but I'm trying to put the word out there. He wins a Platinum Glove last year for the American League. And here's a stat that just absolutely blew my mind, because when you think of some of the all-time greatest catchers, nobody knows who he is. But yet, He's had over 30 home runs the last 2 or 3 seasons in a row. If he gets 28 more home runs this year, which is very possible, he will break the all-time record for most home runs by a catcher in the first 5 years of their career. The one that holds that record now, Mike Piazza. He will pass Jolly Bench, pass Mike Piazza, who everybody knows. Nobody knows this guy. But thankfully, Seattle was smart enough to sign to a 6-year extension. On the other side of that coin, another thing a certain manager is doing, and I consider him one of the best managers of our generation, and I can't understand his obsession with this player. Jock Peterson, who's been around quite a bit. Sorry, Jock. He is batting .057 right now. He hasn't had a hit in 30-something consecutive at bats.
The surprising thing is he doesn't play for Atlanta right now with that batting average.
Well, give it time. But not only is he in the Rangers lineup every day as a DH, one night I watched him, he was leading off. The other night I watched him, he was batting third. Now, what could you possibly be thinking to have a guy that's batting .057 anywhere but 8th or 9th?
Honestly,
it's not like he's been a superstar in the past.
Well, I know you probably haven't, but there could be some that have watched some of my Braves recaps and previews. And I have been hitting Snicker hard about hitting Michael Harris II leadoff.
Well, I mentioned that to you.
For when his batting average is at 174.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, and then they finally take him out of that spot last night. And what happens? He goes 2 for 4, gets a couple RBI, Braves win a game, and then when was the last time the Braves won a game? Oh, that's right, the first game in Toronto when he wasn't batting leadoff. But he went 0 for 11 with 5 strikeouts in one series, and he's batting leadoff. It's like, why?
I think it goes back to what we've talked about in a previous show, is that managers now are so scared of bruising these poor guys' egos. I mean, you see a guy, I don't remember the exact situation in Cincinnati, but the other day when I was there, that this player, a bonehead play. I mean, an absolute bonehead play. Why should they be immune to getting their ass chewed by the manager?
Yeah.
And John and I even commented each other. Back in the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s, Earl Weaver, Billy Martin, if you'd have walked into the dugout after you made a play like that, you get your ass chewed.
Yep.
Now, you're not a god.
Yeah.
And you're only human. Yeah, you'll make mistakes, but in Little League, there was a play last night.
In Little League, you did not make mistakes when Bob McCammon and Gary Buckley were your coach. Okay. I'll tell you that.
Well, do you know how the Dodger-Ranger game ended last night?
I have no idea.
Tying run at second. Young, can't remember his first name, for the Rangers.
Yeah.
Hits a ball down the third base line. 2 outs. He assumed that it was going to be called foul. It wasn't called foul. This night, bottom of the ninth. It wasn't called foul. Max Muncy for the Dodgers picks it up, throws to first. Young didn't even bother running. Now in Little League, you run out. We were taught, okay, this guy didn't play Little League. You were taught that you run out everything until the umpire tells you different.
Yeah.
He cost them a game.
Yeah.
Because he didn't run out. Now, do you think he got his ass chewed after the game? Probably not. I'll bet you both she didn't say a thing to him because his reasoning would have been, well, he's really punishing himself because, no, let me punish him for a while.
Hopefully kangaroo court got him.
Well, I don't know if they even do that stuff anymore. I hope so, but he cost them the game.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that because even at best, if he runs that out and gets the first, then Seager, who was on second, is not going to make it past third. But who knows what the next batter was going to do.
Right.
You ended it for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't. I get so tired of watching plays and thoughts that I don't understand, and managers just let it go.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about an interesting game yesterday that happened at Wrigley. I know you're anti-Cubs, but this is what I thought was kind of a typical windy day in Chicago type of game. And I don't know if the wind changed directions or what. But going into the seventh inning, the Cubs were up 2-1.
Yeah.
And in the bottom of the seventh, the Cubs scored 5 runs. At the end of the seventh inning, the Cubs had a 99.1% chance to win. And it was 7-1. They were up 7-1, had a 99.1% chance to win. Top of the eighth, Arizona put a 10 spot on the board and took their win probability to 96.3%. And then so the Cubs, in the matter of a few minutes, went from a 99% chance to a 4% chance of winning. Then the bottom of the eighth.
Too bad it didn't end there, but go ahead.
Bottom of the eighth, the Cubs scored 6 more to take over.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks and to win 13-11. What a crazy inning and a half of baseball at Wrigley.
Well, I'll tell you what I was doing yesterday. I was watching the park on my phone, standing in line, waiting to get in the Indians game at Indianapolis last night. And when I saw that Arizona had taken that big lead and Suarez had hit a grand slam, like the 8th inning,
right,
I turned my phone off, thinking that, well, there's no way. And then I get back, I get into the ball game and sit down in my seat and just turn my phone, go back to the MLB to see what scores all the games. I see that, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, what a wild game at Wrigley.
Oh, yeah.
But Wrigley is known kind of, when that wind is blowing out,
yeah,
it can get wild, but the fact it waited till the 7th is even crazier to me.
Well, if any of you people have been to games at cities located on the lakes, Milwaukee, Chicago, Cleveland, you'll know that how quickly that could change, because I told you this story a while back. My dad and I went to Milwaukee to see a game. During the day, it got up to 95 degrees.
Now, this was old Milwaukee County
Milwaukee County Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, no roof, of course.
Right.
So we get there and we sit down, and I've got shorts on and a t-shirt. We're not carrying jackets. And the real nice lady sat next to me, looks at me, and she says, "You're not from around here, are you?" And I said, "No." And I wonder why she said that. Well, the wind, which had been blowing from land onto the lake all day, switched to start blowing off the lake, and in a matter of an hour, it went from 90 degrees down to about 50 something.
Yep.
And we about froze our tuchuses off.
Yep.
And so if you ever go to Chicago, Cleveland, Milwaukee, whatever, it can change in a heartbeat. So always at least take a jacket.
Yeah.
In fact, my dad shot his mouth off and said, "I'd give $100 for a jacket right now." And I said, "Well, down the souvenir shop, they'd probably sell you one for that." He said, "I ain't paying that kind of money." I said, "You just said."
Yeah. It's
In a hurry, man. And,
yeah,
and I say lakes, but San Francisco,
San Diego.
The amazing thing about San Diego and all the games I've watched them, they talk about this, is that what they call the marine layer.
Mm-hmm.
During the day when the sun's up, the balls will fly out of that park.
Yeah.
But at night, that marine layer comes in, the air gets damp, and balls that would have gone out during the day are just long fly outs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. San Francisco's the same way, but San Francisco's so much of a bigger park. You know,
yeah,
the dimensions there are unbelievable.
All right, so 20 games in here for some of these teams. Got any surprises when you look at?
I'm hoping that things turn around not only for my sake, but definitely for yours. But I'm looking like an idiot right now for maybe picking the Braves to win the division.
Well,
I really, in all fairness, not to be facetious, but I really don't understand why some of these guys just aren't hitting.
I don't either, and I've said on other episodes, it's early. Every team goes through a stretch like this to where they just can't hit the ball. But it's a lot more pronounced when it's the start of the year than
a long time now.
Middle of June, July, August. Yeah. And then you handcuff yourself because you can't go on a little stretch later. You're gonna have to be very good for the rest of the season when you come out of it.
Well, that old baseball saying.
I also told some friends in the past, Braves will start winning around April the 21st, 22nd, somewhere in there, because that's when the Cardinals are coming to town. I don't
been playing decent ball, so
I don't know if last night was a turning point win for them.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out tonight.
The flip side of that, tells me one of two things. Either the Giants are in for a fall, or their new general manager, Buster Posey, in charge of baseball operations, is the greatest judge of talent maybe in the history of baseball, because I don't know what the Giants are doing it with. I've not heard of hardly anybody in that lineup. But yet, maybe you should pull the old Tupac Shakur song up, California Love, because as of the other day, the three best records in baseball were all in the same state.
Yeah.
Padres, Dodgers, Giants. I mean, and then what a division though. And then you got Arizona thrown in there with. At the end of this season, there could be, and that may not happen, but there should be 4 legitimate playoff teams come out of that division.
Right now Arizona's sitting at 12-9 and 3.5 back.
But they've been until they ran into the Cubs the other day. They've been doing great.
Well, they either lost or are losing again today.
They're losing today, yeah. But what a division. Holy cow. Now, the other flip side of that is
that game went final. They lost today.
Okay. The flip side of that is you got the American League East that's just going to beat up on each other all year long. So, and the same way the National League, but the Braves better get in it because. But it helps them that Philadelphia's not playing very well either.
And that's the thing. That's because I don't look at standings very often as a fan until August, September. So I'm actually sitting here looking at the standings, extremely surprised that Atlanta's only 6.5 back.
Yeah.
With as awful as they've been.
Philadelphia's offense so far this year has been pitiful. And
the Mets are in first place. So it's the Mets. That won't last.
Well, Philadelphia's pitcher here, names again. the one that they got from the Cubs, the free agent that was with the Cubs. He's over. One of their best pitchers doesn't have a win.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's Chris Sale.
So, yeah, there you go. I mean, but in all fairness to the Braves pitchers, it's hard to win. Well, look at Strider. Strider, what? He gave up 1 run the other day, and the Braves didn't give him any runs. That's
yeah. What do you do?
I don't know. It's just
It's what it is. It'll play out even how it's supposed to. And
yeah, I don't pay attention. Unlike you, I don't pay attention to the standings this time of year, but I do pay attention to the stats. And the pitiful stats that some of the stars aren't hitting and some of the stars that aren't pitching it's alarming, actually.
Yeah. Chris Sale's awful. With that, you got anything else?
No.
Okay.
I'll make some more notes before next week. Hopefully I don't see more stupid plays.
No, that's all right. All right, so that'll end this episode. If you have anything you want us to discuss, we'll do our best to discuss it. Maybe one of us at least will have watched and done our stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Kidding aside, if you do want us to talk about something, let us know. We'll do our best to answer that or discuss the topic. You can email us at buckysportsshow@gmail.com. That's buckysportsshow@gmail.com. And you can comment, like us, follow us, subscribe, whatever. And we'll see you next time. Have a happy Easter.